otherwise I'll stand up.
Okay. All right, we're ready to start. If you please stand up, remove your hats. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, it's nice to see a packed house here tonight. We've got a full agenda, so we're going to get right to it. We do have a quorum. We've done the pledge. Approval of the minutes for September 4th.
Move to approve.
I've got a motion to approve in a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear who seconded.
Jim.
Thank you.
We went Dennis, we went Jim.
Thank you.
He's on because there have been complaints that we're not loud enough. Good deal. All right. Starting off with the public hearing of the 2019 budget. I'm going to gavel this meeting closed. Gavel the public hearing for the 2019 budget. Any comments from the community about our 2019 budget? Speak fast. Forever hold your peace. Hearing none, I close that public hearing for the 2019 budget. Move on to the insurance agent of record presentations. Mr. Aiken.
We have 6 proposals for insurance agent of record. Been in communication with them, asked them for an 8-minute presentation to you, knowing good and well that you just went through a heavy presentation from the engineers. And the first presenter is Hometown Insurance.
Good evening, council. Am I allowed to give you I got an outline?
Yep. And you're on the clock.
All right, thank you. Thanks for having us. Thanks for entertaining Hometown and all my competitors here. I want to say I think you have a difficult job. I kind of think it's probably like picking a family vacation or a favorite restaurant. I think there's going to be pros and cons to all of us. And, you know, it comes down to, you know, maybe a bit of a preference, and I hope you like what you hear from us. So, Hometown Insurance and my competitors. There will be 6 of us tonight, as you know. And I am not going to say I'm better than any one of them, because I don't know that I am. I don't think I am, and if they say they're better than me, I probably would respectfully disagree with them. I think we're different from one another, just like restaurants or vacation spots. So we have different experiences, backgrounds, support staff, and that's what I'm going to stress tonight, what we have and how we're different. And I'll explain this goofy hat in a minute. So I want to explain my team or introduce my team. Dustin Ward, he's co-owner, vice president. Roxanne Simmons, it looks, as I look around the room, it seems like she should be introducing me because she seems to know everybody. She's my newest employee. I've known her 25 years. And a great pickup, she will be running the Danville office, which I'll talk more about in a minute. I will have a Danville office as of 4 o'clock tomorrow. I'll own a new building in Danville. So, support team. It's bigger than me. I know I'm the front and center, and I have claims background and all that. I'm the president. But again, without Roxanne, without claims people, without CSR help, I can't do the job. So, in your outline there, I have, I just have a kind of an outline, but Michelle Wenzel and Susan Monroe, both of them have been with me for over 10 years. So they're great and knowledgeable staff and make me look good, and they are good. So also, the newest employee besides Roxanne is Rhonda Spurlock. She was 20 years at SJ Insurance, Stevenson Jensen, and I'll talk more about that in just a second. But so I have 2 people I've just hired for Danville. I have a building that I'm closing in on tomorrow, so I am committed to Danville. So I think that's important to know, and I hope important to you. So examples of differences you might hear tonight. Big national agencies that are not locally owned versus medium-sized agencies like myself and Dustin were the owners. and with local representation. It's different. Is it better? You have to decide. It's just different. Risk control services. I think you probably, I'm just guessing, you're going to hear about risk control services and claims tonight. We choose, Hometown does, to offer our risk control services in conjunction with the insurance companies we represent. Other agencies and all have some of their own staff, and it works for them. I think it's a little bit of a duplication of services. The insurance companies have specially trained people from municipalities for risks they deal with all the time, exposures like you have. So I think they're experts, and they've done a good job with the experience I have. I currently insure the town of Brownsburg, town of Colfax, school corporation, Brownsburg. So different companies, and we've had excellent experience with them. So, and we get good referrals, and I think that's in the RFQ. So, claims. I'm going to talk a little bit about claims. We're a little different on claims. We have, again, I mentioned Susan Monroe, 10 years. I think communication is the key with claims. The insurance company adjusts the claims, but the key and where I see the breakdown in 30 years' experience is communication. And Susan's very good about communicating with you, the first party, the insured, or the third party if we've done a tort to or malfeasance. So you're getting the calls to town and you don't like that and you're looking in a bad light. So communication by us with the insurance company, it sounds easy. It's not always easy. As you communication. Again, sounds easy, but it doesn't. I think we're very good at that. We have a great lady in our office, and we have action plans that as often as you want to meet as a town council and review your claims, we're able and willing to do that. So why is this goofy hat? I have to talk about that for just a second. I figure after listening to 6 agents tonight, you're going to either need a Tylenol, a vacation, or a drink, and we're all going to kind of look the same after a while. So I thought just to be a little different, hopefully not weird. Weird goes to the curb. Different gets you 50-50. And being local, having Roxanne and all that, hopefully you might remember us tonight after 5 more presentations. So why choose Hometown to represent the town of Danville? I said before, at 4 o'clock tomorrow, and I can tell you at 67 North Cross Street. We close on that building, and after we do the renovations, I'll have about $250,000 invested on that building and that project to have us office and open up shop right beside the church. So tomorrow at 4, I close on that and start my commitment, or continue my commitment, if you will, to Danville. With that, I'm paying in local property taxes, payroll, supporting the community with Roxanne and Rotary and all that. I'm committed. Roxanne, again, I mentioned, will be running the Danville office. So she'll work that in conjunction with my Michelle in my office in Brownsburg. That's where our headquarters are, Brownsburg, not that far away. So while not exactly local, not too far away either. So Roxanne and Michelle will be running those together. So why is Hometown in Danville? We're here, you recognize, I think I recognize you, you probably recognize me from a couple months ago from the Stevenson Jensen situation, and I thought I need to talk about that just for a minute again. We took over the SJ business, I'm just going to call it, because Cincinnati Insurance asked us to do it. We didn't take over Stevenson Jensen because of Stevenson Jensen or SJ. Never met Rich Jensen, never knew the guy at all. SJ was the biggest agency for, or Cincinnati, excuse me, was the biggest agency for, I should say this again, Stevenson Jensen was a big agency for Cincinnati. So when Rich passed away, there was no perpetuation plan or anything. So Cincinnati asked us to come in, and we agreed to, and we've committed ever since. So we are not Stevenson Jensen, though. Okay, although we're here because of them, we are not them. We don't operate the way they did. I have nothing bad to say, and I have no knowledge of what went on, but we are not them, but we are here because of them, and I think that's an important distinction.
1 minute.
Okay. Again, I want to say local, I think, is better. We're celebrating 100 years here in Brownsburg, or 100 years, and if you've been in 100 years, I think we're probably doing some things right. People like what we've done in the past, and we're proud of that. So lastly, company representation and agency compensation. How is the council choosing companies or agents tonight? Are you assigning agents and companies? And I'm asking because I don't know, and I don't Don't know if you've made a decision on how you're doing that. Are you picking one agent tonight out of the 6, and we're going to go out and shop it for the best markets? Because standing right here today, I don't know who's going to offer you the best. I do not know. I don't think any of these guys know. We can hope it's our companies, but we don't know until we submit your loss. So are you choosing agents? Are you choosing markets? I think you have to decide. The same for the work comp. Okay, so that's.
Right.
All right.
Stop it.
Yep. And on my paper there, I have about the commission and how we'd be paid. I
There we
ran
go.
out of time, so.
All right. To answer your question, it's my understanding that we're going to try to pick an agent tonight.
I see.
Any questions, real quick?
Yes, sir.
Why did that insurance company pick you to take them?
A couple reasons. They wanted close, so it was us, another agency that was close and passed on it. So they wanted the Danville customers to have a local. I mean, we were fairly local. If you want to call Brownsburg, we're obviously more local now. So local was the main reason. I have a very good relationship with them, and they knew my staffing, they knew my organization, and they were confident we could satisfy.
If I give you a $100,000 check, where's it going to go? If I want to pay Brand X Insurance Company, just give me a little bit of path of that check.
Okay, there's two answers to that. Okay, I'm going to give you, there's one of two.
Go ahead.
Okay, so one is you can have agency bill where that goes into, supposed to be a trust account. We don't have a trust account. It's not required. Should we? Probably. Okay, we probably should, but you can go invade that trust account if you have no trust. So we do not have a trust account. Not an issue because we control our monies and our accounts. The other avenue is, so we don't have to, we could, if that was a deal breaker, we could have a trust account. The other avenue is we deposit it right in there. We can endorse it over to Cincinnati and electronically sweep it if you're directly billed by the company. So you might pay us the check. We get customer checks all the time. The last minute say, hey, this isn't going to get there in time. So they may go over to Hometown. We endorse it over and electronically sweep. And at night, just boom, it's their money right then. So that's two ways of having it.
Last one. Any of us a client of yours?
Dennis Witness.
Any other questions for the council? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up is going to be Jim Tackett. I will give you a 1-minute warning so that you guys can kind of wrap things up. I think that's only fair. And then we'll take brief questions from the council. Thank you.
I have not been in business 100 years like Hometown, which is a great accomplishment, I must say. I've been in business for 26 years on Old 36 in Avon. I'm just 4 miles away from here. I've got 20 years' experience in government, city, and town, and fire department that I've done in the last 20 years, and I currently do fire departments. You currently have IPEP, which I've represented for 18 years. Just in the last 2 weeks, Center Township appointed me as their agent, and I immediately went out and looked through, and I know it coincides, so, and you have VF with Downey Insurance. You asked how it was paid, Tom.
Yeah.
And he is absolutely correct. Most agencies do electronic. With Downey, it is always agency billed. So I would bill the town, and then what I do is I hold your check. Downey requires you to be paid by the agency. I then, as I currently do the last 20 years with them, overnight them a check. In their accounting department, I have a note. When you receive this check, you must call me. We both go to the bank the same day. So I do not hold any of your funds at any time, because Downey, who you currently have, not all, he's right, Cincinnati does that. I don't have Cincinnati, they're a great company. I just don't represent them. That's how Downey, who you currently have, does business. As far as claims go, I got in this business from being a policeman to insurance because I always thought I met every lazy person there is. Not that I work harder. Any of these guys, I don't. I do pride myself in that. And one of the things we do is if you call right now, after hours, because one thing I've learned is, especially with fire departments, police department, when one of these guys get hurt, it's not going to be 8 to 5. It's going to be 2 o'clock in the morning. Drunk driver hits him. A fireman gets called out at 3 o'clock in the morning, has to pick up 400-pound patient. They're going to blow their knee out or shoulder. We answer our phone 24 hours a day, just for that purpose. Does it always work? Yes. I might not answer at 2 o'clock in the morning, my employee, whoever's on call, but in less than 5 minutes, someone will contact you back. And I think that is very important. It sets us apart. With work comp that you currently have, IPEP, they offer different plans as far as coming out and meeting with your employees twice a year, as I set it up for like Avon Fire, to new procedures, new ways. I believe you already have the new lifts, electronic, which helps the firemen. There's different ways to do things with a policeman, different vests, and they go through that and show them how to prevent back injuries. And we do that twice a year, and it's free of charge. And it's something that's really, I think, a valuable tool. I really don't have a whole lot to say other than I'm right down the street, and you have some great people here. I know 2 or 3 of these guys, and I think a couple of them, especially with Hometown, I've known the other owner for 30 years, and they're excellent agencies. And you do have a tough decision. And I wish you the best, whatever decision you go with. If you have any questions, always.
Any of us a client of yours?
I think you are a
I'm a
Medicare
client of
supplement.
yours.
Yes. You asked that. I say that because I see you still have it.
Yeah.
On Medicare supplements, we don't have to talk a lot versus auto or home. As far as I know, that's it.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is Gallagher with Adam Adler.
Here's a couple things that I'm going to go over as part of my presentation. But first, I wanted to introduce myself. My name's Adam Adler. I work for Arthur J. Gallagher. I'm a resident here in Hendricks County, nearly lifelong resident, live in Brownsburg, so obviously not too far away, but not here in the town of Danville. I get that. A little bit about Gallagher. We are one of the world's largest insurance brokerage firms. We focus in the business space, the middle market business space. That's who and what we are. As being a large insurance agency or brokerage, obviously that gives us a lot of clout and a lot of different advantages that we bring, but we also realize it is that day-to-day relationships that is paramount to any of our clients' success. We don't strive to be an insurance broker or agency for just anybody, frankly. We want to work with where we can provide the value to those organizations. Organizations like the town of Danville is a space that Gallagher knows and truly lives on a day-to-day basis. Municipalities, public sector, that's our world. If you look at page 2, we work with over 13,500 public entities throughout the country. I mean, we have a deep bench of resources, data analytics, benchmarking. I haven't looked at any of your guys' policy information, claims information, couldn't even begin to start to look at that, obviously, at this point. But what we have, the capabilities and the wherewithal within our network and our organization, is to be able to break down from a coverage standpoint, a premium and rate standpoint, and compare you to peer organizations based upon similar characteristics, populations, everything else that obviously the town of Danville has. Those are some unique proprietary analytics that obviously are available to us at Gallagher. We work with, here in Indiana, quite a few municipalities as well. We know the space, we live it, breathe it every day. That's our world, frankly. You can even see it when we place over $1 billion of just public sector business that we work with, frankly, to provide value. That gives us oftentimes with these insurance carriers, we are the largest broker that they work with, gives us a market clout. We even put together programs that, frankly, that others can't bring to the table, and maybe perhaps Town of Danville might be able to look at as an alternative. But as I said, bigger doesn't necessarily mean better, just gives us a lot of those resources and that power behind us, right? It's the kind of the bench, the team. You know, I would be the face for your organization. You know, meetings like this, town council meetings, day-to-day working relationships, obviously with the town of Danville. I'm the primary contact to that. I have a local team here in Indiana that helps service our organization, all of our clients, frankly, and with a robust and experienced level of knowledge in the public entity space. You know, with utilization of that network that we have behind us. Page 4 really dives a little bit into claims. You know, I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Obviously, part of what our job is to assist our municipality clients in providing expert advice and guidance. You're going to have claims. You know, we know that. That's why you have insurance, right? Our job is to try to get the best outcome for those claims. You know, be your advocate. Be your resource. Nobody, you know, none of you guys, I imagine, on the town council or Gary or his staff is an insurance expert, is a risk management expert, or is a claims expert. If you were, I'd be shocked, right? That's where we come in. To provide the guidance, we see it every day. We live it, breathe it. We know what's going on, and we know sometimes the tricks that are being played on both ends of the spectrum, whether it's from somebody who's trying to put a claim against you or you looking at a work comp situation and identifying what's going on and how to address and treat and get that injured worker back to work. So you can kind of see, we obviously follow a 6-step process: evaluate, audit, facilitate, lessons learned, escalate, tools. Now, obviously, in the essence of time, I'm not going to go into all those, but there's formal protocols in place with our team of in-house professionals that are claims advocates on your behalf. Looking at page 5, try to help you as an organization within the town of Danville prevent claims, right? I mean, that everybody's going to talk about this, some of these metrics, but again, working in partnership with the insurance carriers and their experts, and working with the Gallagher team behind the scenes to be able to provide you guys guidance and resources to make you guys safer as an organization. It should be your goal. You know, we should strive to be as safe and have as few claims possible to the betterment of yourself. That's what's going to drive your costs. That's what's down. That's what's going to drive your premiums and your rates down, is by mitigating these factors that have presented themselves to have claims in your history. Page 6, if you look at that, another reason I ultimately am very confident why Gallagher would be a great asset and perhaps the best option for you is our ethics and transparency. We at Gallagher are the only insurance broker in the world to be recognized by Ethisphere. Now, you may say, I've never heard of Ethisphere, but I can tell you, go look up most Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies, and at least the ethical ones, I guess I should say. You're going to find those who do their jobs correctly and with a lot of protocols to adhere to are part of this elite group of organizations. Gallagher's very proud of that. Not only have we been honored by Ethisphere in this regard, we're now, I think, on our 8th year in a row of being so honored. Again, we're the only insurance brokerage firm in the world so honored in that regard. There's a lot of things that me and my team have to do to make sure that we're meeting these certain requirements. We don't cut corners. We're not, we're never going to take any step that would lead you guys into a bad position. But a lot of it is adhered to because of our way of doing business. And the last thing, from a transparency standpoint, we would have a direct working relationship, and you know exactly what we're doing to earn our compensation. I assume that you guys are currently paying your former agent in a commission basis approach where it's built into your premiums. With working with us, it's a 100% transparency. If we went to another model, which would be a service fee, a broker fee, where we take the commissions out, it would be fully disclosed. Okay, so no matter the arrangement of our compensation, no matter what the process and the service we're bringing to the table, it's clear what Gallagher is going to bring to the table for the town of Danville. We set out certain expectations, certain service contracts, arrangements, frankly, so that you know and we can adhere to meeting your everyday needs. Again, the Gallagher difference, I would tell you, is our resources, our expertise. We are the largest insurance brokerage firm in the public entity space, but yet we are local. We live and breathe here in Indiana. I live and breathe here in the county. We know and understand how we can help drive your costs down from a claim standpoint and from a loss control standpoint, and frankly, from a transparency and ethical way of doing business. We know we will deliver in the best interest and the best light for you guys as an organization. Questions?
What do you mean by local?
So I live in Brownsburg. Local also is our Indiana office. We have an office here in Carmel, is where our office is. We are here in Indiana. Whenever you need a phone call or an email, we have certain standards we have to adhere to on a day-to-day basis.
How do you determine your compensation amount?
Well, if it's on a current commission basis, right, it's probably a contract that's been agreed upon with the carrier in Gallagher or your current agent, right? If it's outside of that arrangement, we look at and try to estimate how many hours in service that we can bring to the table. It'd be a figure that's probably similar, in line with what perhaps the commission-based model might be, but usually, yeah. We're not lawyers. We don't stamp in and out or anything like that, but clock in, time out. But we would look at it and say, okay, this is what we're going to deliver. Here's what our service plan would be. Really, it's what you guys tell us, what you need, frankly, and we would work towards an arrangement towards that.
You represent any local municipalities?
Yeah, here in the county, we work with a couple school corporations, Northwest Hendricks, Mill Creek. Indianapolis is a client of ours.
Indianapolis is in.
City of Indianapolis.
Okay.
So I give you a $100,000 check, where does it go?
Okay. So it's either an agency model or a direct model bill, right? So if it's if a carrier, I'm assuming right now it's IPEP and such, it's probably an agency model. It's going to go into, you're going to pay a check that goes into Gallagher. Just kind of like they said, there's a very similar model where we have a fund established. We have a contract agreement in place with a timing frame standpoint with the carriers in terms of how many days before they get their money. If it's a direct billed approach with the carriers that are like that, Gallagher actually doesn't even have a step in that process other than keeping an eye and an ear perhaps on for your better benefit, I guess.
Any one of us on your clients of yours? Any one of us individually?
Can't say that I'm aware of that, if that's the case.
Okay.
You right with Cincinnati?
Do we write with? Oh yeah. We're one of Cincinnati's largest trading partners. Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Tom, you're a little free with that 100,000. You can always send it down this way.
I'll tell you what I do with it.
He's tossed out 200,000 already. All right, next up is HBG.
Well, engineers and insurance agents on the same night, I admire your perseverance. We'll be brief. John Parmley, Joe Sandifer, HBG Insurance. We want to thank you for taking some time to interview us tonight. And that's really how we look at it. We look at it as a job interview. We're interviewing for the position of risk control professionals for the town of Danville. We'll be an extension of the town, and we work for you. So at this point, as you've heard from some other folks, we're probably all kind of running together, right? You've heard terms like municipal marketplace and benchmarking services, local offices, exclusive programs. Really, quite frankly, if an agency is not bringing those types of services, they shouldn't be vying for your business. So at this point, we have one job and one question to answer. Why us? What makes us different, right? John?
So we spent some time on your website. We're very familiar with your community. We have a lot of familiarities with how the municipalities in general work. But do we have enough information to put together a program for you right now to say which insurance company is best? Absolutely not. But there is not a cookie cutter program either. What's right for the town of Danville is not right for the town of Plainfield. So each of you are concerned about the cost of the insurance, and rightfully so. We're as much concerned about the process to get to the price of the insurance. That's why on our response, we talked about how we would spend a lot of time on face-to-face meetings with all the different department heads. Why do we do that? We do that to get to know the inner workings of the town, understand all their auto schedules, their vehicle schedules, I mean, the nuts and bolts of the insurance. We don't want the first time that they call us to be a bad situation, at least when they, hopefully you don't have any, but if you have a bad situation, then, we're familiar with each other. In those meetings, we'd review past claims, understand what the pains of each department are, understand what loss control services have and haven't worked, so we could understand their needs. After those meetings, we take that information back. We would compare it against the insurance program that you currently have to make sure everything is there, identify if it is or it isn't, then put together a program, move on to the marketing program. So then from that port, we represent all the carriers in the marketplace. We do represent Cincinnati. There are a lot of municipality carriers. We have contracts with all of them. So we're not married to any one person. Or one carrier. We would market your program to all the different carriers and put together the programs. We complete the applications. I'm sure Gary's been involved in these. The applications are pretty cumbersome. They're 10, 12 pages per company. We would go through those, take it out to market, and that would come back to us. So we look at some options of breaking out the property. Do we use a different property carrier versus liability, a different work comp carrier? Do you look at breaking out the fire department for specialty coverages? I don't know the answer to those today, but I do know that those are scenarios that need to be evaluated. After that, we move on to the recommendation stage. We do it a little unique. We bring all that in, a couple hundred pages of insurance quotes. I'm sure that's not what you want to read. We'll go through that information. We'll spreadsheet it. We try to simplify the process. Then we sit down and go through that spreadsheet with you, or however the process works, is in depth as we need to, and to understand your needs. You do not need us today to tell us which one has the best price, but you need us to tell you which one has the best coverage for the best value. There's some other things that we do along for town of protection. Joe will talk about.
If awarded the business, one of the areas we'd like to start and where we've had success helping other municipalities is focusing on risk transfer. This is primarily done via contract. So in our experience, most municipalities don't always use a subcontractor agreement, and the ones that do, they can vary from department to department. These documents are critical. When the claim happens and there's adjusters and attorneys looking to place liability, the first question that generally is asked is, what's the contract say? If those contracts vary by department or don't exist, it's another hurdle to clear in the whole claims process. We want to have those addressed ahead of time. And again, we've helped other municipalities clear those up. Utilizing a standardized agreement on a regular basis by all departments is extremely important. We also believe in protecting you from unknown opportunities. The old saying is, we don't know what we don't know, right? Could a self-insurance option be viable for the town of Danville? We'd like to pursue that. If it is, would our in-house third-party administrator be effective cost resolution for you? We recently showed a local municipality a self-insured option on their workers' compensation. And at this time, it wasn't the right fit for them, but that exercise proved that we have the ability to think outside the box, to deliver unique solutions, and allow our clients to make the most informed decision that they can make. In regards to some unique cost control measures, John's going to tell you about Jerome LaRue.
So Jerome LaRue is a gentleman who works for us. He's our claims advocate. All the claims would come through us. We would funnel them into the insurance carrier. They come through Joe and I. We would funnel those on. We'd review those. But we'd use Jerome in bad situations, and hopefully you never have to deal with Jerome. But he used to work for Travelers. His ability to mitigate claims, to understand the in-depth coverages, to help get them settled for you quicker, less out of pocket. I mean, insurance is the old adage. I mean, the less the insurance company spends, the better your rates are. I mean, I hate to say it's that simple, but it really is that simple. We feel confident with Jerome and the rest of our team that we can help finalize those claims at less dollars than what anybody else may be able to. Jerome is a great guy to have on our team. But all of us here, great guys, do a good job. But I would ask you, I know nobody's going to come up here and say, hey, I can't do this right. I'm not very good. They're all going to say that. But where the rubber meets the road is, what does everybody say about us? I mean, it's call our references, but take it one step further. Call the department heads. Call Joel Thacker at the town of Plainfield. Call Jason Castetter, Kurt Higginbotham. I mean, these are all your peers. Nate Thorne and John Ayers. Great example. I mean, talk about the phone rings. I had email conversations back and forth with John Ayers this weekend on kind of an ugly tort claim. I'm sure none of you have ever seen those. We had a gentleman that was not pleased. We'll just put it at that. So we're available. I mean, that's our cell phone. Give us a call, whatever it was. But that's where it's at. Ask them, will we do what we say we'll do? Ask them if we sit down with them and help them work through situations that were very important to them. Also ask them, did we bring situations to them that were changing coverages that needed to be identified? I think they would all say they would. And at the end of the day, you're making a pretty significant decision this evening, who you're going to buy your insurance from. We feel that we are the best local representation with the most municipality experience. And we'd love to have the opportunity to serve your insurance needs.
Where's your office?
Plainfield.
Any of us your clients?
Not that I'm aware.
What do you do when I give you a check?
I was waiting for that check. I was waiting for the
Just answer
check.
them anyways.
I was waiting for the check
I think after
question.
3 times.
Yeah,
you should-
very
These are
similar.
answers.
Very similar. I mean, it's you pay us a check. First of all, we're going to give you a bill, and I'm assuming you want that bill broken down by department. That's one thing that we do because I think you probably do municipality budgets. You break them down. We're going to give you that bill, whether that's 1 check, 4 checks, 2 checks. I don't know how you pay your bill. All municipalities seem to be a little bit different. You're going to come to us. We'll agency bill the account, and we'll pay the carrier on your behalf. We do have a trust account. I agree with Brian. Probably not a big deal. Not a big deal if Brian does not have a trust account, in my opinion, whatever that's worth to you.
Sir?
You brought up with your conversation with John Ayers about tort claims. Tort claims or lawsuits, do you ship those out to a lawyer's firm? Is that the insurance company that does that, or?
That seems like to maybe a question you have somebody you want to deal with on a daily basis. So we're able to work with you if you want to identify somebody that you want to use. If not, we're going to send them to an insurance company. They're going to assign somebody. So that question is maybe. What works best for you? I mean, we'll work that out.
How do you determine your compensation?
I would say we do it on a fee basis.
There's enough experience in the municipality marketplace that we have an expectation of what a town of your size and resources is going to need. And just because we do so many other ones, that where that fee needs to be, it's certainly negotiable.
Other questions? Thank you very much for your
We
time.
appreciate the opportunity.
Next up, NFP, Kevin Hill.
We delivered a packet to everybody, but we've got more copies if anybody doesn't have theirs or wants them. We're not specifically going to work through the packet. We're going to try to answer your questions in a conversational style. As most of you know, I'm Kevin Hill, live here in town, attend these board meetings because Greg Irby and I don't have anything else to do on Monday nights. This is John Dillon. John Dillon is the managing director of the Midwest region for NFP. So a lot of people don't recognize the name NFP. McCormick Metzger in Crawfordsville was bought 6 years ago by City Securities. City Securities existed in Indianapolis since 1933, and 2 years ago, we merged that in with a national firm, NFP. Like I said, John is the managing director for Indiana. We've now got 4 offices in the state of Indiana. But let's talk. We'll come back to. I hope there's $100,000 left for us. We'll come back to that. But let's start about something that John said. Right, we don't want that first call to be a bad call. Insurance is all about making the best of a bad situation. Okay, so you're going to write a $100,000 check. That's not a good situation. Nobody wants to pay premium, right? We'd rather have that be a little bit less. How can we make that a little bit less? However, at the time of claim, which is definitely not a good situation, we don't want to be out of money. We don't want to not get you back in business. We don't want your police car replaced. We don't want your building damaged to the point where your folks can't work, right? It'd be great if we had 100% or 20/20 hindsight, right? If we knew that last year there was going to be a tree that was going to fall on the amphitheater, well, we'd have hurried up and made sure that we had maximum coverage on that amphitheater. On the other hand, if we knew for sure it wasn't, well, we wouldn't even paid premium, right? We'd have just skipped it. That's the spectrum we're trying to deal with, right? And we're all blind. Like all these guys have said, we've not looked at your policies. We don't know where you're at. That's our job. Guys, where is the middle ground where we're spending fiscally conservative rights amount of money, but getting maximum payment when it's time for the claims to happen, right? So that's where we're at. And why do I think we're the right firm? So we've talked about local. I'm local, I live here, right? We're not leaving at 5 o'clock, okay? And I can give you a couple stories that are testament to that. I insured Danville Schools when they instituted their Pride program, sending high school kids out to internship. We had their questions answered and their coverage in place before they ever asked. I knew about the plan. I knew it had insurance implications. We took care of it, okay? Hendrick County Arts Council planning a New Year's Eve event. Their questions were answered before they were ever asked, okay? Not anything we're going to make money on, but they've got the details because we're in the community and we know what we're doing. But the reason that we can deliver on that is our expertise. It is the fact that we're national. It is the fact that we have 4 offices. We have 30 municipality clients in Hendricks and the contiguous counties. 30 municipality clients in Hendricks and the contiguous counties. People don't leave us. That's not 100% true, right? That'd be false to say that people don't leave us, but 1 or 2 have left. We maintain our client relationships. We maintain the premium level once we've picked the coverage amounts. And these guys are exactly right. This is an intensive process where I'm going to sit down with Gary, I'm going to sit down with Laura, I'm going to sit down with Jenny. We're going to recommend to the council where we see coverage is right, where we see coverage is wrong, and where we think your risk appetite might change. Maybe we've been buying it this way, but maybe we want to buy it different. And those are all the face-to-face, hand-to-hand things that we're going to do. And we're going to be able to bring you all of the major municipal carriers. IPEP is our #1 work comp carrier, right? We got a great relationship with them. We represent Cincinnati. I will tell you, we typically haven't used them a lot on our municipalities. We use Astra, we use Travelers, we use Selective, we use Bliss McKnight. I'm in phone conversations with these people weekly and seeing them monthly because of the amount of business that we have. Okay, so I feel like we combine the best of both worlds in terms of who our carriers are, what our expertise is. Now I'll let John talk a little bit more about the size of our organization and what we can do.
Thank you for having us today. As Kevin said, my name is John Dillon. I am a born and bred resident of Indianapolis. My home is exactly 25 minutes from this location. As Kevin said, he's 1 mile away. NFP is one of the larger brokerage firms in the country. Now, I don't want you to think we're over corporate. Your claims come to because you're going to be a VIP client. We will deal to make sure we advocate your positions all the way through. Why is that important? It's a little bit of a value added. My background has been Commissioner of Insurance for the state of Indiana, so I understand regulation. I'm the Chief Deputy Mayor for the city of Indianapolis. I've also been the Chairman of the Indianapolis Polytechnic and the President of the Metropolitan Development. Now, Marcia, does that make me an expert? Do I get it? Do I understand zoning issues, municipal finance? Do I also understand regulation? Answer that is yes. Let me address your question right away. You give us a $100,000 check that religiously goes into a trust. Protected at all times, and it is backed up by multi-million dollars of our national. So, yes, we're big. Yes, we bring resources. Yes, you're not going to be hung out on a premium account because it's going to be protected at all times. Yet, get the local touch. We will be there. We'll have our cell phones. If something happens, we'll be on site. Let me conclude with this thought. I was so excited about the Warriors beating Tri-West. That's a great win. And I'm going to be at that Weibo game. So that's going to be a big one. We pay attention. We know what's going on in the community. And it's great. Questions?
You sell cattle in Texas?
Listen. I hope that's a compliment.
It is a compliment.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
I don't know where.
Okay, thank you for your
Thank
time.
you very much.
And the last one for this evening, certainly not least, Mantooth. Angel Wells.
Okay. You can go down now. You can sit down.
Anytime you're ready.
Thank you. Well, first of all, my name is Angel Wells, and I'm an agent with Mantooth Insurance Agency. We got Wade Mantooth as well as Ralph here as well. I just want to thank you for allowing us to come and present this evening. A little bit about our history. Ralph, it's a local company. He started back in 1981. He has been protecting Hendricks County and the surrounding areas, as well as our community here in Danville ever since. We work as a team there. Everybody brings something different to the table. I would be the account executive. I would be the liaison. I would be your main contact, your go-to person for everyday needs. I also propose meeting once a month to go over to see if you have any changes, just to make sure and ensure you have that proper coverage in place at all times, as well as what I put on the questionnaire. I propose having our quarterly reviews just to go a little more depth into that. Now with Ralph, he provides his knowledge and expertise when it comes to municipalities, and he has over 15 years experience in that, as well as Wade. He can provide that expertise as well. And he is also our claims specialist, which can assist in any claims process or issues that may arise. We have Terry in our office. She's our commercial accounts manager, and she has been with Mantooth for over 30 years. She has over 15 years experience serving municipalities as well. And then we have, rounding out our team, Jessie Smith. She has been with Mantooth for 11 years and 17 in the industry, and she can assist in any of those servicing needs. Altogether, we have over 100 years experience in the industry. And I know that Ralph, as well as myself, are both residents here. And we have been a part of the Danville Chamber for several years, as well as in the past couple of years, I have become a part of the Danville Rotary, and here recently, the Kiwanis Club of Danville, I apologize. And when it comes to carrier access, we can offer the same carriers as what everybody else here can offer. I do have drive and passion for this community, and I want to be able to continue that through my work and protect everything that you love and care about, I love and care for in this town.
Any questions?
What municipalities do you currently represent locally?
I'll ask the same question. How do you determine what your compensation?
Nothing's typical. Of course, if they're giving us commission. Most of them will work on
Other questions? Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Akins, we've heard from all of our agents, our insurance agents that would like to work for us. How do you suggest we proceed at this point?
I think it's discussion by the council. I think it's really tough because we were with an agency for over 50 years. Things just went well, and expectations were such. So here we're working on someone. I think it's someone that's, again, got to have a comfort level with you as a council, with the clerk treasurer, itself, because we do have to review everything that's going to be covered. That means this building, that means the contents, that means police cars, fleet. I mean, it's important that we go through, identify them, take pictures, build an album. We've got that there. So, I think the company that we're going to work with has to have that ability. And I think that, and we're working with them, will identify the coverage through the companies, then those companies will establish a commission. I think that's where it should come from, unless the council wants to go to a fixed fee, whole package.
You have a timeline in mind to making a decision. You want us to try to make a decision tonight?
If you're comfortable tonight, if you have something to hang your hat on, fine. October 1st.
I'm comfortable. Always comfortable.
It's certainly going to be a tough decision because we know pretty much almost everyone. But I don't know that any time is going to make that decision any easier.
I would concur with what Marcia said.
Going to be very tough, but a week or two is not going to change.
Okay, fair enough, and I feel the same way. We've had this information, we've had a chance to look it over. Out of these agents, I will say that I do know Kevin. I have no business with Kevin, but I have taught his kids. I do not hold that against him. He's a Cub fan, so that's always a good thing. Which kind of concerns me if there's a Cubbies game and we have a claim. He's going to pick up, only if there's a lead, right? Don't answer. No, I don't want to hear that. Okay, based on that, does anybody have a agent that stands out that you would feel comfortable with? Or, I'm sorry, Jenny, do you have any input in this?
No, I agree with everything that you guys have said and given my thoughts. And
NFP, I would pick them.
Can I make that in the form of a motion?
I move that we nominate NFP for our agent record.
I have a motion, choose NFP as the agent of record. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Jim. Any other discussion? Roll call or voice vote?
Voice vote.
All right, so we have a motion to appoint NFP as the agent of record, and we have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we've chosen an agent of record. Please work with our town officials as we try to get the best coverage for our town. Thank you all for coming in, and we do appreciate your time and putting up with our clock here. Okay, for those agents, if you choose to leave, now is a really good time. Because we've got a lot to cover. And thank you again for your.
Thank you all.
All right, proclamation for Red Ribbon Week. Red Ribbon Week. Sorry about that. Yes, Mr. Keith Gurley. Thank you. Keith here tonight. All right, Keith is not here tonight. I'll go ahead and read the proclamation. This is a proclamation by the town of by the Danville Town Council to proclaim October 21st to the 27th, 2018 as Red Ribbon Week, whereas October 21st to the 27th, 2018 has been designated National Red Ribbon Week, which encourages Americans to wear a red ribbon to show their support for a drug-free environment. And whereas the Red Ribbon Campaign was established by Congress in 1988 to encourage a drug-free lifestyle and involvement in drug prevention and reduction efforts, and whereas the red ribbon has been chosen as a symbol commemorating the work of Enrique Kiki Camara, a Drug Enforcement Administration agent who was murdered in the line of duty, and whereas communities across the United States have been plagued by the numerous problems associated with illicit drug use and those that traffic in them, and whereas there is hope in winning the war on drugs, and the hope lies in the education and drug demand reduction, coupled with the hard work and determination of organizations such as the Young Marines of the Marine Corps League to foster a healthy drug-free lifestyle. And now therefore be it hereby proclaimed by the Danville Town Council that October 21st to the 27th, 2018 be designated as Red Ribbon Week in Danville, Indiana, and urge all citizens to join in the pledge proclaimed and signed this day, September 17th, 2018. Happy Constitution Day, by the way. All right, we have a proclamation for Red Ribbon Week. My apologies. To say that all night. A long day lecturing, kids. All right, what is the pleasure of the
I
council?
move we approve the proclamation as read.
We have a motion to approve the proclamation. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor, or any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Proclamation passes. We'll get this signed and moved around here. In the meantime, we have Ordinance 16, 2016, lane rezoning. Laura Parker.
Really just happy to answer any questions you might have about the handouts that staff provided in your packet. Otherwise, this will be best turned over to Mr. Comer, who's here to represent the petitioner.
All right, Ben? Do you want to make any statements? Any comments?
Application, I don't waste your time, but
Okay,
I will say this, the plan commission. Favor of approval.
Thank you. Okay, we have ordinance 16, 2018, an ordinance of the town of Danville rezoning certain territory. What is the pleasure of council? Would you like to deal with this tonight? It's been introduced.
Zoning ordinance doesn't require.
We don't have to do this thing. Okay, so we have this ordinance ahead of us. What is the pleasure of the council?
Make a motion. Mr. President, make a motion, we approve ordinance number 16-2018, ordinance of the town Danville rezoning certain territory, 1150, 1180 Lincoln Street, Danville.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Aye. Motion carries 4-1. Okay, thank you. Ordinance 17, 2018, the Danville Christian Church annexation. Laura?
And this is just introduction. Ordinance.
Has been introduced. Thank you. Flip through my pages here. All right, on to additional appropriations for the general, edit, and stormwater. Jenny?
This is ordinance 15 that I brought before you in July. It's the additional appropriation for the general fund, the edit fund, as well as stormwater for the projects that have come up that Barry needs to take care of. And then we're transferring some funds in the other two. It requires a 10-day publication in July because of the July 4th holiday. The flyer did not run, and so it didn't have 10 days published. So we had to go back and republish it. The flyer did not charge us because they didn't let us know that they weren't going to be having a paper on the 4th of July because it runs on Wednesday, and the 4th fell on Wednesday this year. So this just comes before you. You had approved it then. It just comes before, again, after the 10-day publication period for your approval.
Okay, we have an additional appropriation ordinance 15, 2018. Any discussion? What's the pleasure of the council?
Approve.
Got a motion by Mr. Nguyen to accept additional appropriation ordinance 15, 2018. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Tom. All those, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Citizen,
Sir?
I'd like for you to know that the additional appropriation you approved for stormwater
Yes, sir.
is because they worked their butts off to make everything on the north side paving, have the stormwater system in before that was done. And it was done right, so now when it rains, all the water goes to the drainage basin, doesn't stand on the streets.
Excellent. We had a good workout last week when we had 5 inches of rain, didn't it?
You mean we didn't get all that going to Barry's house? I thought everything goes to Barry's house. Backyard.
Okay, on to department reports. We can get this done in the next hour. The first one's up is Jimmy. Water.
First of all, I'd like to thank the council for that difficult decision and listen to the presentation, but and along with the insurance, but I appreciate that. We'll be looking forward to working with Banning on that, getting things going, and do that. First, also working with Banning, we're getting ready to start the asset management plan. They came out and kind of did some preliminary testing for some areas, what we're looking for, and pictures we're going to be taking. And I think Mr. Wicker, we're going to meet tomorrow out, I think we're going to start at Victoria Lane out in Patterson Woods. Work from east, work west. It's the best way to do it. Along with that, they're, like say, on the difficult decisions there, like I tell my referees that I work with a lot of times, that's why we make the big bucks and like that. But I know you guys don't get a lot of money, but put a lot of time in. Appreciate that. Also, we're out changing water meters, so if you have a little service interruption or whatever, we're putting cash registers in, what I call it. It's our meters to be very accurate to account for all the water that goes through those. I know sometimes we get calls, people that there's no way I can use that much water, but now some of these new meters have data logging in them. We can go out, customer complains, we typically can put that data in, got a device that hooks to that, and then we can tell you when you used your water and how much. So better be truthful. So that we'll find it out. That's all I have. Any questions?
Any questions for Jimmy? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Wastewater, Jerry.
Just like Jimmy said, thank you for your time today. Really appreciate it. I did want to note that our WEIR study was public noticed. We are the first utility municipality in the state to perform this test, to have that regulation rewritten to match what's actually in the creek, not what's in a lab downtown. So that was a big win for the town.
Any questions? Any problems with that?
Just the wind knocking down our power.
Yes, yes, and thanks for keeping us abreast of what was going on there. Nice to know. Any other questions?
Thank you again.
Yep. Can I see you and Jimmy after the meeting? Thank you. All right, Fire Department. Chief Morgan.
Good evening. I've tried to keep everyone up to date on all the events that we've had. I did miss one event. We've been asked to be spotlighted in a national ad campaign for high school referees. And so one of our employees was in that campaign. It'll be distributed nationwide, as I understand it. It was a nice feather in our cap, obviously, that we were asked to do that. The other thing that I have is that I have been asked again by AIM to serve as the chairman of their Public Safety Policy Committee. And that's about all I have. I'll entertain any questions.
Any questions? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Congratulations on that, Mark.
Chief Rainey.
Members, I'll be brief, but I do want to highlight a few things. In August, the first would be the National Night Out. Once again, we had a great attendance. As you know, we moved it from the normal spot of downtown on the square out to the fairgrounds due to the inclement weather that we anticipated to come in. We passed out 957 goodie bags. We had kind of guesstimated that we had over 1,000 attendees that night. The facility worked out really well. Many thanks to the director out there. Also, Brandon Blinn, our officer that newly hired, has completed his 40 hours of pre-basic course, and he continues to work with our field training officers, training here locally prior to going to the academy, which we anticipate to be in October. Also mentioning the academy, Officer Travis Wilson will graduate from the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy, basic training, September the 28th. Looking at our stats, one thing I want to bring to your attention is that we had 849 total runs for the month of August. Of those runs, 372 of those were traffic stops, which is 68 traffic stops more than we conducted the month before. We served 26 warrants, which was 7 above the previous month, and we also made 6 OWI arrests, operating while intoxicated, for the month, with 37 criminal arrests. I'm glad to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Chief Rainey? Matt did a great job moving that at the last minute because of the potential for bad weather. And very smart move on your part. Anything else? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Laura? Planning.
Been a busy couple of months for Plan Commission and BZA. They're meeting this month, and there also will be petitions to be heard in October. So planning for those on my part. Issued 4 sign permits. We recently worked out the final engineering details on the substation project that's going to go in behind Vic Pevler's location. So going to see that on the Plan Commission next month for final approval. So excited to get that plan moving. Again, several public nuisance issues occurring anytime we get rain and a little sun. Grass jumps up a mile. I'm also working on some beacon updates to the website. As you know, several months ago, you approved a study for the intersection of Lincoln, Tennessee, Blake, Cartersburg. Did I get them all? And staff met today with Chet Skorkin to review some of those suggested realignments and some things that would make that intersection more safe. And so based on staff's recommendations, he's going back and going to get some cost estimates on what we think are the best to bring to you to review and evaluate and see what you might like to do for that location. So that'll be coming to you in the future. I just wanted to let you know that that ball was still rolling. Lastly, some time ago, again, this is things that have been in progress for many months, approval was given for Banning to help us do a feasibility study on the potential relocation of Public Works facility. So that's been ongoing throughout the summer, and we're to the point now where we would like to get together and have a work study to talk about the results and where we go forward. It's important to kind of bring that all together now because that number is going to be incorporated into the host budget, we would hope. It's kind of been a number that's been on that list for probably a dozen years. And we're just getting to the point where it needs to really rise to the surface. There's some opportunities out there that we need to take advantage of. So with that in mind, I was wishing that you might be interested in a work study sometime in October. I know you like to have them before council meetings. Obviously, the first of the month is not a good one. So potentially maybe October 15th. Ideally, we would really like to be able to tour our existing facility and then possibly another one that we have in mind that we'd like you to consider. So with that being the case, it'd be nice to start a little bit earlier if you can. So 4 or 5.
Like an hour and a half.
Yeah, I think easily. Because then we would come back and we would talk about the plan and where we've gotten in that study and what makes sense going forward and get your thoughts and your feedback.
Deer season, so depending on where that second place is, I might be really interested in it. I might meet you there. October 15th, what do you say, council? Anybody available?
Me.
Okay, Jim, I know your time.
Make it work out. I've got enough time I can make it work.
Okay, now we could do it tonight.
Places.
If you did
5:30?
4, you could then adjourn after that was done, and if you want to go grab a bite to eat before the council meeting, I'm just throwing that out as an option.
What's
Just
your
whatever you want to
latest
do.
that you could be available?
What are we saying right now?
Laura suggested maybe 4. If we do it at 4, then we can tour the site. No,
That'd be a little fine.
5-ish. Let's do 5 o'clock.
Okay.
We can tour. You want us to all just meet down at Public Works to begin with at 5?
We'll send out communication
rather
and
than
provide you with some
us all
details.
Carpool down
Are you delivering pizza there?
there.
Ray might. Ray might make pizza for you, right?
With all the $100,000, he probably ought to buy
Yeah,
a pizza
yeah.
place.
I guess we should ask Ray, is that all right if we meet at your place?
Yeah.
Just say yes.
We've already talked about it. So.
Thanks. 5 o'clock then, work study, October 15th.
Great. That's all I had.
Public Works. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, any questions? Okay. Barry, stormwater.
First of all, thanks to the council for approving the additional appropriation. Unfortunately, there will be more to come. We have more sinkholes to fix. So look for, as soon as I get some hard numbers, I'll give them to Jenny and Mr. Aiken, and then they will get those to you when we'll move forward on those additional projects. Last council meeting, there was a couple of gentlemen that had some questions about drainage out on Wildwood Estates. I've never known it as that. I've always known it as Snob's Knob. So, but anyway.
Not that in the best possible way.
It's just a name that came up in high school, and I kept with it, so it's all right. But we had 5.5 inches of rain last week, and I went and looked, and there was no signs of any problems. What we have trouble with is the inch per hour. We cannot handle that, so I did follow up. We had that rain. I went out and looked. Everything was functioning like it should. So I don't see an issue there unless we have torrential downpours. That's usually what the problem is. Building side, we have I have plans in the office for TSC. They're ready to start moving on that project. I did get the final construction design release from the state for the whole building. I had one for the foundation only, but I did get the full release, so they'll be starting on that real quick. Four Oaks, we did a proof roll with Mr. Whitaker and his foreman. They had a couple issues that they need to repair. They'll repair those, and then they will start curbing. The new section of Four Oaks they'll be blasting homes out there pretty quick. Section 4 is already built out, and they've already pre-sold lots for Section 6. So that's really all I have. Oh, one other thing, we're going to do some moisture remediation. We have some moisture issues in the building. We're going to take apart a couple more wall units. They're in the older part of the building at Hargrave Hall. We're going to address those tomorrow. We're going to start tearing it apart and correcting some issues that we have there. Okay? I've been spooked upstairs a couple of times, so I'm not too sure. But
Don't disturb Harv.
I think he's been in the room with me a couple of times at 1 o'clock at night when I was removing water from the upstairs. But yeah,
Swimming in the pool is what you were doing.
I am small, but I'm not that small. But yeah, so those are the things that are going on. So I'll have some more information for the council on the additional appropriations and the moisture issues we're having in Hargrave.
Follow up with Doug Scott about what he found with that rain
Yes, I will.
in his neighborhood, whichever neighborhood.
I do not know how to get a hold of him, but I will find out how.
I have his cell phone. I'll give it to you.
Okay.
I got his cell phone.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Public Works, Ray.
Good evening. At the DPW, the paving is complete. Now striping has been done by Reith Riley. Baumgardner is still doing striping. The square is complete. Striping will be complete on Thursday to finish up the short areas around the square. It was opened on Wednesday after fair on the square to traffic. The concerts are now done, so now on to other things like tree grates being installed, scarecrows up around the courthouse, and Christmas lights. The rest of the sidewalks are to be complete soon, and the diesel tank has been removed at the garage, and the new pad has been installed, and we will be setting the diesel tank on Wednesday. We have been involved in looking at a new site for DPW, and if any of you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer those.
Any questions for Ray?
Ray, the farmer's market banners, are they down? I
Yes,
noticed last-
ma'am.
Okay, they were still up last week. I was just going to.
They're down. Any other questions?
Biggest summer we've ever.
I love your roads. I love driving on your roads.
Thank you.
Biggest summer we've ever had with all the paving and roads and everything. Did a great job.
Thank you.
Anything else? Thanks. Parks Department.
Real quick here, pool is really close to being done, winterized.
Also, the Indiana Lions, their schedule is out. That's the ABA basketball team that's going to be playing in Bostic this winter. If anybody's interested, they're up here. Also, thank you to Barry. He supplied some doggy pots, and we're going to be putting one back here, 2 in Gary Aiken Park, and another one over by the creek. Those are the dog poo stations where you can kind of, I don't know if you've ever walked back here, but it'll help a lot on the side of the deck here. Also, thank you to the fire department, police department, Public Works, just for helping with the half marathon. It wasn't ideal. It was very rainy. The Ferris wheel looked great, but only 10 people rode on it. So everybody was scared of getting struck by lightning. So kind of fair with it there. So we did sign on for 2 years, so we'll have it next year already. So we're good to go. Did kind of work out the kinks, I'd say, this year just by learning where things go. Everything ran really smoothly. We were up 60 participants, even though it rained, which is great. That was our whole goal in changing things around, tying in with Fair on the Square. So I think all in all, it was very successful, even though the rain came. I think if the rain wasn't there, it would have been even better. But that's all I have.
Anything? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything from the public? Nothing from the public. Okay. Here we go. Around the horn. Gary.
I just want to thank the council for your time tonight. It was a long session.
Good session. Laura. Jenny?
Last time I was here, I talked about getting a commuter service by train to Indianapolis. I've looked through that. CSX, I think, is the name of the owner of the railroad tracks. They like freight. We would have to purchase the time on the railroad tracks. They hate passenger trains on there. So it doesn't look like there's any opportunity for us to get a commuter train from here to Indianapolis. I went further on some other agencies, and I found that a bus service, a train with rubber tires, we'd go back and forth to Indianapolis, and there is an 80% fund, a government fund, then we would have to pay 20. It's $150,000 a year, and you get 2 buses in the morning and 2 buses at night, so 2 runs. And that's a possibility, but it's not looking very good for commuter service to Indianapolis. It's the best I could do. I thought it'd be good to get on a commuter train in the evening, go have dinner in Indianapolis, and ride the train back home. Unless we want to build railroad tracks, it's not going to be possible. So it was a thought, make our life a little easier.
Yeah, thanks for looking.
Doesn't hurt to look into it.
Anything else? Tom?
No, I'll have something next week.
Marcia?
I just want to say I'm glad to see so many citizens here this evening. I encourage on my Facebook page for people to come to the meetings the best I can. And I'm glad to see some people listening.
Dennis?
2 things. One, thank you to Mark and the fire department. Other fire departments around us, the bigger ones, are not doing the community involvement, community touching like his hog roast that he had. I know it wasn't as heavily attended as normal because of the weather, but there's still a lot of people there. It's amazing, Mark. Great food. Thanks for the setup. But just to see your firefighters involved with the community, that's what we need more of out of all of us. Number 2, 2 tough decisions were made tonight. We all knew a lot of people on either decision we had to make. I knew 4 of the 6 insurance agents. What we did as a group is we did pick 2 of our own. And I think that says something about us in Danville. And I went against my needing a storefront, went with my gut, because I know Kevin is a salesman, as I manage sales reps, and I like his persistence, and I think he's going to do us a good job. It was hard voting for your sidekick, who's a Democrat, but I let that go.
Anything else? Jim? Yeah. We tough one to follow up, but I'll try. No one. Happy Constitution Day. Our Constitution is 231 years old. Still seems to be working. Modifications down the road. Number 2, there is a police and fire football. Is it flag football? Is that correct? Game coming up on September 22nd, 7:30 at the high school. Our Danville firefighters participating. And the same for police. Okay, so that should be a good time. I'm sure they'll play fair because it's flag football and nobody tackles in that. Everybody plays nice. Throw some donuts out there and watch them eat. Third, Marcia, happy birthday.
Thank you.
29. And Tom, happy birthday on the 19th.
Thank you.
And I have nothing else. Claim docket.
Move to approve.
Second. Motion and motion by Dennis, a second by Jim. All in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed? Claim docket is approved. Everybody, have a good evening. Thank you all for sticking it out.